So, and let's get into this Jonathan Majors tea. So, oh wait, maybe I need to close my other windows first before we get to the Jonathan Majors. Okay, now we good. So, Jonathan Majors, of course, with the tea that came out about all this other stuff regarding Robert Downey Jr. and things of that nature, um, we all knew it was only a matter of time that somebody was going to want to get the opinion of Jonathan Majors. So it just so happened that TMZ saw him coming out of somewhere. Of course, the body was on point. He was drinking some green juice, and showing off the muscles and things of that nature. He was over in LA, and TMZ stopped him and asked him his thoughts on him not being a part of the MCU, and that they basically got rid of Kang, and now they're moving on to Doctor Doom. So we do have that clip. And we'll get right on to it, and then we'll hear what he has to say, and then we'll come back and we'll talk.
Hey, Jonathan, how are you?
Nice.
I mean, it was announced that Robert Downey Jr. was, being brought back from Marvel to play Doctor Doom. I mean, it looks like he's replacing your villain, Kang. I mean, are you hurt with the new direction that, Marvel is, going?
Yeah, heartbroken.
You are?
Yeah, of course. Come on. Yeah, of course. I love him. I love Kang.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Doctor Doom is wicked though.
Oh, yeah, it is good. It's gonna be good. I mean, both Robert Downey Jr. and Ezra Miller have had a history of trouble with the law and getting arrested for felonies. I mean, you only had a misdemeanor. Do you feel like it's unfair that you're not being given the same opportunities as them?
Damn. I think it's fair that Mr. Downey is being and has been greeted with patience and curiosity and love, and that Mr. Miller's gotten the same treatment, and that they're being allowed to work their art and be creative at that level. It's not. Nah, I'm not really. I didn't really get that. So
Do you wish you had the same opportunity as them?
I mean, that's hard. I mean, come on. Yeah.
I mean, why do you think that's the case though? For them?
Wow. I don't know.
Would you want your old role back, your old job back as Kang the Conqueror?
Kang?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I love him. That's why I said I love him. I love him. I love Kang. Love Timeless. Love He Who Remains. Love him. If that's what the fans want, if that's what Marvel wants, let's roll. Hell yeah.
Okay, so y'all got the gist of the situation. But I will say this: is it me, or does every time Jonathan Majors opens his mouth, it just comes across as disingenuous? I just never really feel like we get the true essence of how Jonathan Majors truly feels. Maybe we get his real feelings when he beating the shit out of somebody. I don't know. But every time I see him from down when he was in the courtroom and all other stuff, it always felt like he was acting. It always felt like, I went to the Sydney Poitier School of Theatrics, and I'm going to give you the performance of the lifetime. And it just gives me all of that foolishness. And it's just like, can you just be yourself? Can you just be honest and stop trying to get these bullshit diplomatic answers? So for this chick, because clearly I know he called her, because TMZ ain't just sitting around just stalking celebrities all day. A lot of times they be calling these TMZ to try to zhuzh up the situation, and he always comes across looking phony or not genuine at all. Remember the whole thing where all of a sudden he was there to break up that fight between them kids, and so that way he can come out looking like a superhero at the end of the day when all this abuse allegations was coming out. But since y'all want to sit up here and compare things, let's go down the timeline. So apparently Majors was arrested, since people forgot, on March 25th of this year for assault and harassment charges after his then girlfriend Grace Jabari accused him of assaulting her in the backseat of the private car that after she took his phone and read a text message, because apparently he was cheating, because he didn't have the balls to walk away from the relationship he was in. So Grace was in the backseat alongside him. Apparently they had a couple of drinks, hanging out or whatever. He'd been allegedly cheating. She happened to take a gander, as most people do when they're in relationships, and he thought he was being cute and sneaky about it. And she confronted him, and they got to tussling. And then there was a whole situation where they said that, you know what, she showed an injury to her middle finger. He because she was being nosy, and he snatched the phone back. They said he hit her on the back of the head and then tried to force her back into the car, causing a cut behind her ear. But yes, and then all of a sudden, we need to also point out that, yeah, he was found not guilty of one count of intentional assault in the 3rd degree and one count of aggravated harassment in the 2nd degree. So I don't think he intended to hit her. I just think it was just a reaction because she was all up in his stuff. He was out here cheating. She happened to look and see that you wasn't being faithful. You was talking to another woman because you had the balls to break up the relationship. And he said that in that interview that he did. I forgot, who was it, with Robin Roberts, where he was just like, you know what, I should have walked away when I had the opportunity, but I was afraid to. I didn't have the courage to do that. So he let it escalate to this point. And you know, when people are under the influence, these things happen. And the thing with Robert Downey Jr., to compare them to the situation, Robert Downey Jr. was a drug addict who hit his rock bottom and was blacklisted from Hollywood for years until Kevin Feige and them over at the MCU took a chance on him. Now, I'm not all that excited about him with the Dr. Doom thing. I already said there's plenty of other actors out there that should be playing this role. But here we are, because the whole Kang thing was set up to be the big bad for the rendition of the phases. And what happened is, because now y'all got to go at the drawing board and everything is a disarray and it's a mess and y'all trying to figure out how to reshape the future of the MCU, let's go to familiar territory and bring in one of the highest, the biggest name, names, the biggest name in the industry, someone who was affiliated with the MCU that helped launch the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd phases, because Iron Man was the first show out the gate. So with that being said, yeah, we're going to go to familiar territory so that way everybody get excited and we could build this whole Dr. Doom situation, even though we already said that, because we know that Fantastic Four is coming, because they're about to, I think they started shooting it already. So let's bring him in it, and that's familiar territory. And I already told y'all my feelings on it. And some people say, well, you ain't never read a comic. It ain't about the fucking comics, because quiet as it's kept, people in Hollywood don't even follow the comics all the damn time. They change things up all the time. We're talking about cinematic films. We're talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm not talking about Marvel damn comics, because that don't necessarily mean they're going to follow what's in the comic. And y'all don't even know if they're going to be turning Robert Downey Jr. is playing a variant of Tony Stark. So anyway, and then also, let's not get started on Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller got a laundry list of things that he was doing. Remember when he went and he was fighting in the bar, and then there was a point where he stolen people guns, and I think there was like people in the house, and it was a whole hostage situation. I don't have a whole laundry list of all the things that Ezra Miller has done, but Ezra Miller was in some deep mess and was getting arrested. And remember when he went to Iceland and got into that whole assault situation of the woman in the bar. So, but then people are trying to time it with, but they let him continue to do The Flash. I'm like, The Flash is already done. The only time they kept having him come in was for the reshoots. There was no way in hell that Warner Brothers was going to spend, after they already spent damn near over $200 million to put this first movie together, that they were going to come in and spend more money to bring in a whole new actor to reshoot everything. Are y'all crazy? Hollywood, they ain't doing that. Bad enough we already got a situation that's came out now where Disney is laying off hundreds of employees, including in the reality department. I was going to say probably because all that money that went to Robert Downey Jr. and the Russo brothers, y'all had to make all them damn cuts. But that's a whole nother department. So Hollywood is struggling right now because they're overpaying these actors or whatever, and with y'all balloon budgets. You spending $400 million on a movie budget is not a guarantee that people will come to see it. How about working on the script and everything first? So I totally understand this. I don't like the whole comparison of, oh, well, it's not fair that he's doing what happened to him, but then y'all didn't do the same thing to Robert Downey Jr. and the same thing to Ezra Miller. We're not going to make this that coded racial black versus white, because that's not what this is. Ezra Miller's still paying for what he's at. Have y'all seen him in a movie since The Flash? Hollywood ain't fucking with him. He's in his blacklist era right now, too. And The Flash had to come out because the Flash is already done. They weren't going to go in and do a whole nother reshoot to bring a whole nother actor in. In a perfect world, that would have been great, but that would have ballooned the budget up even more. And they still would have seen a loss, which we ended up seeing happening anyway, because even though the Flash did what it did, it's still considered a box office flop. Hence why they had to rejudge everything. And now we have James Gunn has taken over and is coming out with their own cinematic universe. We got the DCU. Sidebar, shout out to James Gunn, who just wrapped 2 days ago Superman. I'm excited for that. So I guess we'll be getting reshoots or whatever, and possible reshoots, because I saw David Corden sweat. You did eat that big old brownie when you was revealing that you had rap playing Superman as well. I said, don't get too comfortable, because if you got to come in and do a reshoot or something or whatever, because they always put money aside for that, then you can come in and look. You don't want to end up with a little old flabby gut. So I know he was just being cute or whatever on social media, because it's like he's just letting people know he was done. It's not like he's going to eat a whole pan of brownies for the next couple of weeks. So I say all this to say, Jonathan Majors, while I understand this whole thing, I just feel like you missed the point. You yet again coming out here whining and complaining. It's about, well, I wish them the best or whatever, but I love playing Kang. And let's be clear. First of all, they didn't write his character all that great. When it was in Quantumania, I hated the way they worked the Kang character in that film. That movie wasn't even that good. And don't even get me started on the second season of Loki. So while you may love Kang, the way Kang was written and the way that Kang was represented in the franchise thus far was a chop. So, and it wasn't working. And now Disney has to go back to the drawing board and figure out what to do, which is why they're trying to, they're what is it? Swimming upstream without a paddle? Swimming upstream without a paddle. And that's where they are at this point. So, Deadpool and Wolverine so far got them on the right track, but they still have a long way to go to get back in the good graces of the public, where they trust, like, okay, are we gonna get a steady amount of good MCU movies? So it's only a matter of time of that. But yeah, I get it, sir, but no, you need to take a couple of more lashings before you're allowed back in the good graces of Hollywood. You got to learn your lesson, and that's just the way it is, especially in accountability culture. And look, he's got a movie coming out that he's supposed to be working on, so he may not be a part of the MCU, but he is still getting work. So I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this topic? Are y'all with the biases and y'all getting the whole thing, or you just saying like Jonathan Majors, child, you calling TMZ is not going to help your situation? So let me know what y'all think of this story in the comments down below.